Hello pilots of the internet and welcome to Foldable Flight. My name is Kyle and this is where I teach you how to fold paper airplanes that will blow your mind. And in today's video we have three amazing planes. These are the grand prize winners from last year's Foldable Flight Paper Airplane Designers Contest. But before we fold, I do have a couple announcements for you, and the first one has to do with what is inside this box. Now, something you obviously know about me is that I love paper airplanes, but something you might not know is that I also really love board games and board game design. So check this out. Now, before I open this box, it's important for me to mention that nothing you see here is finished. In fact, most of what you're about to see is not even close to being finished. But I have been designing this game for over a year now, and the gameplay itself is really close. The artwork is what I'm working on and will probably be working on for a while still. So check this out. This game is called Angle of Attack, and players will be racing paper airplanes in a series of 5 races. So you can see here some examples of potential card art. I'll even put on screen some more finished versions of what the card art might look like. And there will be over 100 different paper airplanes in this game represented by cards. Those planes will have functions within the game, and the cards will feature QR codes that you can scan to learn how to fold the plane through a video tutorial. So players will be boosting their planes around the track, even able to shoot at the other paper airplanes that their other players are using to race. So not only will this be a super fun board game, it will also be the biggest paper airplane tutorial kit that I'm aware of. If you're interested in learning more about this game, be sure to head over to foldableflight.com, scroll to the bottom of the page, and add your email to our email list where I'll be sending updates as I continue to make progress on this project. And that leads me to the second announcement of this video. The 2024 Foldable Flight Paper Airplane Designers Contest is now live. We are accepting submissions. They are due by October 5th, and the winners will be announced on November 9th. Now, the rules for entry are mostly the same as in years past, but be sure to head over to foldableflight.com/contest to read through those. And something important has changed this year. The rewards have changed. In addition to getting grand prize trophies, custom designed templates, books, now the grand prize winners for this year's contest will have their planes featured as cards within Angle of Attack when it is published. So if that's something that excites you, be sure to enter this year's contest. I'm so thrilled. I always love looking through your entries, reviewing your paper airplanes. They are always so good, and I'm hoping this year is even more special than all the years before. Every year I try to make it bigger and better, and I'm really excited to involve you all in this project. So let me know what you think in the comments. Be sure to get your planes ready and submit them to the contest. And with all of that, let's get folding. You can see Raijin looks absolutely awesome. It has those V-shaped wings that make it look so aggressive, and of course that point at the bottom of the plane, which makes this thing look totally different than any paper airplane you have ever folded. Better yet, this plane is easy to fold, so I hope you will fold it with me. 3, 2, 1, go! All you will need in order to fold Raijin is a sheet of 8.5 by 11 inch or A4 paper, and we will begin by folding this edge here to this edge. Once you do that, go ahead and open your paper up, and now we'll fold this top edge into the center, leaving just a little gap, maybe 1 millimeter or so, between your edge and that center crease. So it should look something like this, and then we'll fold the other side to match. Just like that. Now I'm going to fold this edge into the center crease. Again, I'm leaving just a little gap, and I want to make sure I control this layer here as I do this. So it should look just like that. And then we'll do the same thing on the other side. And there you go. Your plane should look like this. Now I'm going to fold the top point down, and I'll show you. I want the point to land so it's right between these 2 points. It's kind of the same distance down. And I'm going to place just a little pinch crease right at the middle when I do that, because I need to flip this over and make sure that the center crease on this layer lines up with the center crease on that layer. And once I do that, then I can crease all the way across that top edge. Just like that. And now I can flip it back over and I can push some of the slack out of these bubbling layers over here. Just like that. Okay. Now I'm going to fold this here into the center. And again, I'm leaving just a tiny gap. Make sure your crease goes nice and straight all the way down here. And we'll do the same thing on the other side. And your plane should look like this. And now I'll go ahead and fold this. Here, let me flip it into this position. I'll fold this point as far toward me as I can. And it's going to catch right on this layer and this layer. So you can kind of curl it at that point, fold this forward, and we will pay attention to this again in just a second. But with it in this position, we can just crease it right like that, and we're going to flip the paper over. And I'm going to now fold these triangles forward right along this layer here. Now unfold that, and I'll do the same thing on this side. And now I'm going to fold from this point, and I want this point here to land right along the back edge. So look, the crease starts right at this corner, and then I land that point along that back edge. Just like that. I'll do the same thing on the other side. Just like that. So you can see our plane's almost done, but we've got to actually fold our wings and this really cool part at the bottom. So I'm going to just kind of flatten those back out for now. Position the paper like this. And I want to fold this edge here to land on that edge there. And I'm not creasing all the way across here. I'm just creasing to the middle crease, right like that. And I'll do the same thing on this side, taking this edge here to that edge. Again, there's no need to crease all the way across, just crease right to the middle. And now you can see we've got these two diagonal creases. If I crease on both of them at the same time, check that out, we get that awesome spike. It's called a rabbit ear fold. And we got an awesome spike on the bottom of the plane. And now I can fold the plane in half, just like that. And we are ready to fold our wings. So I'm going to start about a 1/2 inch above the nose, or a centimeter above the nose. And I'm going to fold straight to the back. I want this line to be parallel to the bottom edge of the plane. You can crease the really thick layers and then gently crease that section back there that's thinner. And then once you do one side, normally you would leave this folded and flip it over, but because the layers are so thick, I find that it's a little easier actually to leave that flat and fold this side to match just by finding where your creases are and making this side match, landing the creases at the same point. And once you do that, you can kind of rock this central section back and forth just a little bit to firm up those creases. And now we just need to set the wing angles and everything. So
You want these to be nice and vertical, just like this. And you might find the back edges of the wings curl down a little bit, and that makes the plane want to dive some. You can compensate by folding these back portions up a little bit, and we've got that crease there to help you do it. And depending on how much up elevator you add, how far you curl these, it may fly really nice and level over 100 feet, or you can curl these up enough that it will even do backflips and loops and really cool stunts. So this is a very plane to kind of experiment with. You're looking at E34 Bright Star, designed by Aiden Schable. Now this plane does look awesome, but it also flies really well too. So let's see this thing in action, and then I'll teach you how to fold it. 3, 2, 1, go! All you will need in order to fold this plane is a square sheet of paper, and we're going to begin by folding this corner here to this corner. So you want to land that point right there, and then you can kind of tack your outer corners. Obviously I already have this crease in place, but I like to tack my outer corners, make sure the crease is going right through the corners, and then sweep out from the middle. And then once you do that, you'll open it up, and then you'll just fold it in the other direction, landing this corner on that corner, and making sure your crease goes through each of these corners here. And your plane should look like this. And we're now going to fold this edge here into the center crease, meaning this point should land right on that point down there. And then you'll go ahead, flip the paper over, and fold this to the center crease there. And once you do that, we're actually going to kind of open this up and squash it just like that. And now we have a water bomb base. And you can see what that looks like inside to make sure yours looks the same. And now we're going to fold this edge here into the center. Do the same thing on the other side. So your plane should look like that, and we'll flip the paper over and actually do the same thing here. So we're folding this into the center. And do the same thing on the left. Okay. So your plane should look like that, and we'll actually unfold all of those creases we just made. So the paper looks like this again. And I'm going to stand this whole right triangle here up just like that. And I actually want to squash fold it. And I'm not going to make any new creases. I'm just opening up that pocket, kind of pushing down on that crease there. And that means it should fold right along those existing creases you already have. And then you just fold that flap to the right, just like that. And we'll stand this up. And now we're going to open that pocket up, squash fold right along those existing creases. Fold this back to the left. And we want to do the same thing on the other side. So flip it over, stand this up, squash fold it. And do the same thing here. Okay, so your plane should look like this. And now we're going to take this right flap and just fold it over to the left. So we're looking at it like this. And I'm going to make a crease taking this edge here to the center crease. And my crease should go right through my bottom point down here. And then I'll do the same thing on this side here. Okay, I'll unfold that for now. And then I want to flip this back in that direction and flip now the left flap here. And I'm doing the same thing. I'm folding this edge to the center crease. And my crease should go right through my bottom point. And I'll do the same thing here. Okay, and now we're going to go ahead and petal fold this side. So I'm rotating it into this position, and basically I'm going to be taking this point here and folding it all the way down to there. And as I do that, it will make a crease that goes right through here from this point to this point. But watch as I do this. The first step is actually that I just want to kind of open this whole thing up a little bit and reverse these creases that I already have. I'm just kind of folding along that crease and pushing that layer behind, just like that. And I'll do the same thing on this side. I'm just kind of pushing in, reversing that, and that's going to make it really easy now as I swing this whole thing forward to take this point to that point there. And then I can kind of flatten this gently so that the crease I make goes right to the center on both sides. Okay, and you can see, having done that on one side, I want to do the same exact thing on this side. So I will open this up, kind of just reverse those existing creases, just pushing it behind. Do the same thing here. Then once you have that diamond, you just swing it forward, land this point here on that point, and then gently flatten this. If you get something caught, you can reach into the pocket and just kind of massage it so that it can flatten properly. Just like this. And now I will rotate it into this position. And just to show you where we are now, you can see if I swing that to the right, we have two symmetrical sides. But I want to stay focused just on one side right now. So I'll swing this flap here to the left. And I'm going to make the canard of the plane. So let me just go ahead and do this, and then I'll explain exactly what I did here. Okay, so the first step is I'm folding this sideways so that this crease here is perpendicular to this crease here. So it makes a right angle. And once I do that, you can determine the distance just by aesthetically what you like. You can see this little section here represents the size of our canard. And then once we have it in this position, you can kind of take this edge here and fold it to this edge as you close this other side. So you can see I'm closing that up and just making sure this edge lands right on that other edge. And then I just crease it as it closes. So there you go. You can see that made one of our canards. Now I'm going to position the canard by grabbing all of the layers around it. And I'm going to line it up with my other side because watch, I'm going to, swing this to the right, and I can match this one now to the first one I did, just like that. And then I just have to crease that little section, and then as I close that side up, you can see they're matched. And when I open this back up, I have two identical canards. Okay. And now we're going to swing this all the way to this side here. So literally I'm swinging every layer except for one on my right side. And I'm going to continue the line, this back edge of the canard here, to my center point. And that'll be one reference. And then this corner down here is the other reference. I want to make a crease that runs right between those 2 points, which is a little tricky because it doesn't want to lie flat as you do this. But basically you're just pulling that over, try to crease right to this corner and right to that point. Okay, and once you do that, you can kind of reverse this crease here and then close this up gently. Make sure that whole section lies flat, and as you close that up, you'll make the matching crease on the other side that goes to that corner. Just like that. And now we want to repeat those steps on the other side. So I can actually even fold this. You can see I'm bringing the 2 halves together so that I can open this up and just kind of pull this. I'm reversing this center crease. Just gathering it, and you can pull, you can see how the spine moves forward as I pull that. Basically what I want to do is I want to land this point right on that point there to make sure my 2 sides match. Once I manage that, then I can just gently close this whole side up. If you'd rather follow the steps exactly as I did them on the first side, you can do that if that's a little easier for you, but you can see we've got those 2 matching creases on this side just like we did on the first side. And hopefully that means our plane is nice and symmetrical. Okay, now I'm using this existing crease I have on this first side, and I'm going to do what's called a jet fold. Now, it's easier. Let me go ahead and flip this over. If I kind of transfer this crease to these thicker layers on the bottom first, so I'm just folding right along that existing crease I have. So let's go ahead and do that. And now with the jet fold, we just kind of collapse that, and then you will fold your plane like this. I know this is a little tricky to describe, and you're going to fold this edge down to create that same crease on this side. So I'm just pressing it into this position here, lining everything up, trying to make sure it's nice and symmetrical still. And you'll see, if I open this up, you can see we've just got 2 identical creases here. And our plane looks like this. So now let's go ahead and just fold up our canards on either side. We'll fold up our wings right along that crease we have. If you want, you can open it up as you do this, whatever's easiest for you. We're just folding right along this edge. Just like that. And actually, yes, I think it's easier to work with it open like this. So let's now fold a line that is parallel to this edge here. So I'd say the line's going to be placed about here. If you're folding using the template, there will be a line on the template for you. But this is, again, it's just preferential, really. It can be whatever measurement you want. So I'm going to fold this layer, so I'm creasing right along that line, just like that. And once you do one side, of course, you can fold the other side to match just by lining it up like this. And then we're going to fold out. And again, we want this crease that we're making to run parallel to this line here. And you can see about how tall I'm making this. This is going to form a fin. Again, once I do one side, I can just fold my plane in half like this, fold my other side to match the first side, open that back up, and then I want to fold this so that the new edge I make lands right along the edge behind it. So you can see as I reveal that, this edge lands right on that edge. And I'll do the same thing on this side. Okay, and now we're going to position it so that this layer here angles outward. So that's going to become the fin. We want it to lie towards the outer edge of the plane on either wing. And I'm going to fold. You can see there's this point right here where this edge is kind of intersecting right here. You'll be able to see it when we actually make the fold. And I'm going to fold all the way in. Let me highlight it, and then I'll show you better. We're going to fold all the way into that point on the plane. So watch as I do this. I'm going to grab this and pull it, and you can see it catches at that point where this edge here intersects. And then my crease goes all the way up in, which I'll make the crease, and then I'll show you exactly what I did again. So I'm just pulling these layers like this, creasing that goes into this pocket. You can see my crease goes all the way to that point up there. That creates the leading edge for our wing. And we want to do the same thing over here. So let's see, it's easier for me to do it this way. I'm going to just pull my first reference point. It kind of catches at right there. And then my second reference point is all the way up inside the plane. I'll show that to you again once I'm done placing my crease. Okay, you can see where that crease is headed to. And there we go. Now we can fold right along this existing crease and make the crease on this layer to stand our fin vertically. Do that on both sides. And we want to make little fins on the outside that run parallel to this fin. So I'm just folding a little winglet right here, right at the edge of my wing. And the crease I'm making, again, I want to be parallel to this fin. And I'll do the same thing on the other side. So again, I just fold the plane in half, use the first side as a guide, fold this side to match. And now it's all about just setting our wing angles, locking the plane together. So you can see we've got the existing creases to make our jet fold. We can kind of just push the plane together like that. You can lift the wings a little bit. Got these nice canards at the front. And now we just need to lock the plane together by folding this edge here all the way up into the plane. And that's going to be a really thick layer. Make sure it's folded nice and crisply all the way to the back. And then you can push this fuselage back down. Set the wings at the angle you want. You're probably going to want them to be nice and flat across the back with all of your fins vertical. And there you go. I hope you were able to fold it. I know this one's a little complex, but all the same, good luck flying your plane. Now you already know Hawkeye looks absolutely amazing with those diamond-shaped wings, the fact that there are 4 of them, a swept-back tail. This thing just looks sick. Now not only that, but it actually flies very well too. It can fly over 100 feet, so let's see it in action, and then I'll teach you how to make it. 3, 2, 1, go! All you will need in order to fold Hawkeye is a square sheet of paper. I'm using really thin kami here, but you could use something thicker than that. And in fact, it will fly best with something like 90 GSM or 24-pound paper. If your paper is too colored like mine is, you're actually going to want to begin with your colored side down. And we're going to start with it in this position here and fold the top point down to this bottom point. When you do this, your crease should go right through each of your outer points here. Okay, now I'm actually going to fold it in half, making a center crease that goes right through this point. And now I can stand this up and squash fold this whole triangular flap, just kind of fanning it open and pushing on this point here, bringing this point down to this point there. Then flattening these outer creases here. Okay, now we can flip the paper over, stand this triangular flap up, and we'll squash fold this as well. Okay, I'm going to now fold this point up to the top point, and I'm just making a pinch crease here. And now I'll fold the top point to that pinch crease. And I'll fold the top point to that pinch crease, making just another pinch crease there. And I'm going to highlight, we have 3 pinch creases here. I'll highlight all of those. We're going to be using 2 of these as references later. Now let's go ahead and open our paper up, back into this position here. And I'm going to fold this point into the center, landing it right along that crease that is here. I'll do the same exact thing on the other side. Your paper should look like this, and now we can collapse it back into this position. Just like that. Okay, it should look like this on that side, but we're looking at it from here. Now I'm going to go ahead and fold this edge into the center. Just like that. I'll do the same thing here. And now let's go ahead and we'll rotate it into this position and pull this top triangle down right along the edge of these layers. And then reverse that triangle to go behind them. Just like that. Rotate it back into this position and now fold these edges over those edges. Going almost all the way to the center crease. Just like that. Do the same thing over here. And your plane should look like this. Now, I'm going to open this up and let you see, here we have the 3 pinch creases. I'm positioning the nose of my plane on the right. This reference, or this pinch crease rather, is not a reference. You don't need to pay attention to that one. We're looking at the 2 that are closer together. And I'm going to close up this here. Basically, I want to fold my wings out, and one of my reference points here is this this point. And then the other reference are these 2 creases. Basically, you can make your fuselage as large or small as you want here, where the closer you make your fold to this crease here, it gets smaller. The closer you make it to that one, it gets bigger. I like it to be a little closer to this left one rather than the front one, and that lets the fuselage be just a little bigger, more prominent. So again, yours doesn't have to exactly match mine, but if you want yours to match mine, mine's close to the center, but a little closer to this one here. And once you do one side, again, the crease is going to this point down here. Once you do one side, you just fold the other side to match. Okay, let's go ahead and open our left side up. And I want to make a crease now only to the center here. I'm pulling and making a crease right along this edge. So you can see I'm kind of rolling this in, controlling those layers. I want my crease to go right along that edge, but only to my center crease here. So if I open that up, you can see where I made that crease. And now I'll open it and do the same thing on the other side. So I position it like this. Then I pull right over, try to control that nicely, and crease just to the center. And you can see now I've made those creases. Let's position it like this, flip it over, and you can see we're ready to jet fold. I basically just push in on the center a little bit as I bring those sides together. And I will collapse it into this position here. Now we'll pull our wings up right along this edge here. Do the same exact thing on the other side. And your plane should look like this. And you can see we're getting close, but we need to make our tail fin. Now there is a reference point for the tail fin if you want. It's right here. And what that means is when we kind of pop this to reverse this layer, you can try and pull this forward exactly to where this little mountain aims for that point there. But honestly, that is really not crucial. The thing you want to pay attention to when you're making this fin, you can really make it a variety of sizes, but you want to make sure that this back edge is behind this point right there. You can see I could swing that forward. I want it to slope back, and we're going to do a step that you'll see in just a second why we need that, but you should have a little space between this point and the back of your fin there. That's the really important thing as you decide on the size of your fin, and then we can go ahead and crease that. Now here you will see why we did that. I'm going to grab the back edge of the fin, and in fact you can see I've got both layers here, and I'm folding from this point right at the top of the fin down to this point right at the back of the fuselage of the plane and on through to the bottom. Okay, make that nice and flat. And then I'll open that up. This right side is already in position now to tuck that into the inside of the fin, but I'm going to need to reverse the crease on this side to tuck those in. Just like this. And now you can see we have a nice swept back tail to the plane. Now we're ready to tuck these layers, these two layers right here, up into the fuselage of the plane. So it's almost like we're folding them at a 45-degree angle or so. The challenge is you're tucking them all the way up as far as they'll go, but this little pocket you have here is in your way. So I'm going to open that up, reach in and fold that up as far as those layers will allow me to fold them. Just wrapping one right around the other, just like that. And you can see I'm folding them up as far as they'll go. And then pressing that flat. And you can see that's locking the back together. And then we're going to fold this section up into here, just like this. Now we folded the flaps towards the right side of the plane in the first step, and here we will fold this to the left side of the plane. Just like that. Crease all of that nicely, and that locks the plane together. And now all we have left to do is to set the angles of our wings. So this is something you can definitely experiment with, and it will change the behavior of the plane, but just start with it in this kind of slight X pattern here and see how that flies for you. If it's diving down, which is somewhat unlikely, you can bend the back edges up slightly. If it's spiraling counterclockwise, you can bend the rudder to the right slightly or bend the back wing here up slightly. If it's spiraling in the opposite direction, you would bend the rudder to the left slightly or a wing up on this side. And with that, good luck flying your plane.
Thank you so much to all of my patrons who are supporting this channel and making these videos possible. I'm now releasing a new tier where you can become the pilot of your favorite foldable flight paper airplane, and your name will appear next to the paper airplane you choose in each of my YouTube videos. So head over to patreon.com/foldableflight and join the Foldable Fleet today.